How in the world is it already June? Genuinely? How? Does anyone else feel like this year is flying by? Because I do. I know I'm just like a little bit early, but I really wanted to film a mid-year book tag, so here we are. It's basically been half a year. If you haven't heard of these videos before, this is just a really fun way for the book community to kind of wrap up the first half of their year so far. I personally love watching these videos because it's like a great overview of everybody's reading year without having to go too deep into every single book and all of that. So I'm really enjoying these videos and I look forward to watching more, and I hope that you enjoy this one too. Before we get into it, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss out on any future book content, and without further ado, let's get into it. It is currently June 9th when I'm filming this video, and right now I have read 35 books this year and over 13,500 pages. Not crazy, but I'm definitely on track to hit my reading goal. First and foremost, out of those 35 books that I've read, which one is my favorite? That is a great question. Thank you so much for asking. Onyx Storm. I hate to admit this, but this is actually my third edition of this book. This is the Fairy Loot Special Edition, and it is stunning. This is the only book that I've read so far this year that I've given 6 stars, and it deserves it. If you don't know, this is book number 3 in the Imperium series by Rebecca Yarros. The first book is Fourth Wing. I'm sure you've heard of that book, but this book came out at the beginning of the year, and holy guacamole, I ate this up. I felt like this was the perfect book. It is exactly what I needed for like being book number 3, if that made sense. There's so much more adventure, there's so much more world building and discovering and learning about magic. Of course, it has the classic, everything is so cryptic and who knows what actually is going on. Classic Rebecca. I loved this book. I love this book so much, and I really want to reread it. And just because I am obsessed with it, and maybe you will be too, this is the naked hardback of the Fairy Loot edition, and there also is end papers, character art. Oh, yes. If you saw my vlog of me reading that book, then this probably is not a surprise at all that that's my favorite book of the year, but so good. Highly recommend the series. Next is the best sequel that I've read so far this year, and if you know me, you know I'm really bad at finishing and continuing series. However, I did read one. That was my series. I did read one sequel. This is book number 2 in the Bridge Kingdom series by Danielle L. Jensen. This is The Traitor Queen. I gave this book 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was a great follow-up to the first book. If you read the first book, then you know that it ends on quite the cliffhanger. So this book starts off and really throws you into the fire. There's a lot more politicking going on in this one, a lot more like world building and adventuring, and yeah, I don't know. This one's really good. I'm excited to continue the series. I do have book number 3 on my TBR for this month, and I'm pretty sure it follows 2 different characters. It no longer follows the 2 from this one. So I'm excited to read about them. I do feel like their story is like kind of wrapped up a little bit, but still excited to continue the series. Now on to some new releases that I haven't yet read, but that I'm very excited about. First and foremost is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I do own it, but I haven't gotten to it yet. I'm very excited about it. I need to be in the right mood, the right mindset. I love her writing, and so I don't want to go into it in a bad mindset. Next I have right here, it is Problematic Summer Romance by Allie Hazelwood. She is pumping out books and I am so here for it. I read Deep End earlier this year and loved it. I have really high hopes for this one and I really don't want it to disappoint me. I haven't really heard reviews about it, so I don't know, but I'm very excited and I really want to read this book. Next is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This is book number 1 in her new series. I actually ordered it on Barnes & Noble's website because number 1, I had a gift card, but number 2, I really like the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition and it's supposed to arrive today, which is so exciting. I read her One Dark Window series or duology, and I really enjoyed it and I enjoyed the writing. I've also heard really good things about this book, The Night and the Moth, so I'm really looking forward to reading it and probably gonna read it this month. Next is another book on my June TBR, but it's Silver Elite by Danny Francis. I'm not gonna talk about this one too much, but the main reason I really want to read it is because there is so much hype about it and I just want to know for myself, is it good? This book, if you don't know, is a dystopian. People are saying it's like the adult version of Divergent. So I'm definitely intrigued. I have heard mixed reviews. I'll keep you guys posted. Next is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book came out this month and it sounds and looks so good. If I'm gonna be honest, I'm not the biggest Taylor Jenkins Reid fan, just based on the books that I've read. They weren't 5 stars. I'm not obsessed with them. However, this one sounds so good and I really want to read it. And finally, Caught Up by Navessa Allen comes out tomorrow, so I'm counting this one. I will probably listen to this one on audiobook because I read Lights Out on audiobook, but this is book number 2 in the Lights Out series. I don't know what the series is called. This is a dark romance. I don't know anything about the plot or what might happen, but I'm really excited about it. There have been so many new releases already this year, and there's going to be so many more. So here are some new releases for the second half of the year that I'm also really excited about. First and foremost is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. I love Ashley Poston so much. I read The 7-Year Slip, 5 stars. I also read A Novel Love Story and really enjoyed that book as well. Willow's sniffing the books, I think. Ashley Poston writes contemporary romance with a touch of like magical realism in there, which is so fun. I love that. I want to read more books like that. Give me more. I don't know a ton about the plot for this book, but I know that if Ashley Poston writes it, I'm gonna read it. Next, I'm so excited for Reign of Glittering Flames by Elizabeth Starling. This book comes out in August, and I was a beta reader for this author, so I have already read this book, and it's so good, and I'm so excited to have a physical copy in my hand. It's going to be crazy bonkers. But this is a fantasy romance, and it is so fun. The plot twists are plot twisty. This is what all Romantasy should be right now, and it's not. Like, all the other Romantasy books coming out are trying to be as good as this book, and they're failing. So when this book comes out, you need to read it. Next, I actually found out about this book pretty recently, and again, I don't know anything about it, but Soul Searching by Lila Sage. I read her Rebel Blue Ranch series, the cowboy romance series, and I love her writing. So she's coming out with something new. I don't know anything about it, but if Lila writes it, I'm gonna read it. And finally, the epitome of if she writes it, I'm gonna read it, is Mate by Ali Hazelwood. Okay, can we talk about how she's releasing 3 books in 1 year? Deep End, Problematic Summer Romance, and now Mate. So Mate is the sequel to the book Bride. Bride was one of my favorite books that I read last year, and it was so much fun. So to get more, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this book to come out. I'm sure that I could find 500 other new releases that I'm also excited about, but I'm gonna cut myself off there and move on to the next category. Next is my biggest disappointment from the year. If you watched my vlog where my best friend picked what books I read, then you would know this book already, but it has to be The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. Hopefully I said his name right. Probably didn't. Like I said, I read this book because my best friend picked it out for me. She picked out 3 books when we went to Barnes & Noble, and I was the most excited for this one. This one sounded the most interesting. I don't know. It just sounded the most interesting, and I was really looking forward to reading it. I read it first because I wanted to start off with a bang. I gave it 2 stars. I really did not like this book. So sorry, Jeffrey. Now, completely opposite to that one, my biggest surprise of the year has been, upside down, First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. I will say I was excited for this book to begin with. I've read 1 book by B.K. Borison and I did enjoy it. This was her new release from this year. I liked the premise of this book. So this is but inspired by the movie Sleepless in Seattle, which I still haven't watched, and I really should watch that movie. The male main character is a radio host, and the female main character is a mom whose daughter calls into the radio, the talk show, says, hey, can you help my mom find a date, or like help her date? They do just that. And oh my god, this book, so I wanted it to be good, and I thought it was gonna be good. I gave this book 5 stars. I absolutely ate it up. I was kicking my feet. I was giggling. This book made me feel so nostalgic for like a 2000s rom-com, but also it like reminded me of what it felt like to fall in love. Like, it made me nostalgic. I don't know if this is gonna make sense, but it made me nostalgic of how I felt when I first met my husband, and we were like first dating and like falling in love. Like this is the feeling that I got. And will anything top this? I don't know. The next category is new favorite author. It could be a debut author or a new to me author. I have two. First, I forgot the book back there, so I'm gonna add it on over here. But I read Heavenly Bodies by Amani Ibru, and I ate that shit up. Holy guacamole. I gave this book 5 stars. I really, really, really loved it. It was such a fun romantasy. The plot twist at the end, I didn't see coming. It was a nice twist because the female main character is the one that has like the dark shadow powers, and that was just really fun to read. I loved the world and the magic system, and just overall her writing style was so easy to consume but didn't feel too easy. So I loved her writing, and I really want to look into any other book series that she's written, and I want to consume them. Read them. Why do I talk like that sometimes? I don't know. My next favorite author, I have two. So my next one is Frederick Bachman. He is not new to the world of writing, but he is new to me. I read Beartown this year, and it was so good. It was so good. That book was definitely an emotional roller coaster. It makes you feel every single feeling. Anything good or bad that can happen to a human being happens in this book. His writing, it was really good. It was really good. And I know now, also this is a literary fiction, if you don't know about Beartown, but literary fiction, I don't even think I could talk about the plot. He's the type of author that I know if he writes a book, I'm going to really enjoy it. However, it's also going to emotionally destroy me. So I don't see myself reading a ton of Frederick Bachman. Because of that, I don't typically like to sign up for books that are going to make me cry, but sometimes that's just kind of what you need. So, new favorite author, probably not going to read a ton of his books though. Next is my newest fictional crush. Personally, I'm not one to hold on to crushes from books. Like, I'll really enjoy them or like the character during reading it, like while reading it. However, I feel like I just don't hold on to them for very long. So I think all I have to say is Aiden Valentine from First Time Caller. This is one of the books that I read most recently, so I think that might be why I'm saying this, but I really liked him as a male main character. He is like broody when he wants to be, but not always. And his banter, he's just so quick and like witty. And yeah, I mean, just look at him on the cover of this book. Like, yes, hi, yes, yes. Ooh, you know who else? Okay, I don't remember his name, because again, it's like I don't hold on to these crushes. However, the male main character in Deep End. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, now my newest favorite character, just in general. I feel like it's been a while since I've really, really, really connected to a character. I feel like the last time I really connected to a character is when I read an Emily Henry book. So I haven't read hers yet. I'm sure I will connect to somebody in that book. But I think the only character similar to that I really like felt a bond with, I don't know, that feels so dramatic, but is Iron and Embers by Helen Scher. This is a Fairy Loot special edition, so it's probably going to look different if you go to look up this book. However, the female main character, Ren, she has gone through a lot. Like a lot. She reminds me a lot of Nesta from the Court of Thorns and Roses series, if you've read that. The female main character in this one is an alchemist. She's basically a poisoner, and she is getting back at people who like betrayed her by poisoning them. But I love just how strong she is, and just she's a very strong female character. So, I don't know. Again, I feel like I don't really connect to characters all that much. Next is a book that made me cry, and it should be no surprise to anyone that the only book that made me cry this year is Beartown by Frederick Bachman. Like I said, this is a very emotional read. This one will beat you up, chew you up, and spit you out, but it's so good. So good. You know, I've probably shed like a couple tears here and there in other books, but like this one made me cry. Next is a book that made me happy, and for this one I chose The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. This is a YA fantasy romance? A YA romantasy? Is that a thing? But I really enjoyed this book, and I feel like it really is bringing me back to YA. It's like YA to my core, you know? I love a YA fantasy, and this book was exactly that, and it was so good and so fun. The plot twist in this, did not see coming. I should have, but I did not see coming. Just the whole magic system and the queen just makes this book really fun, and it was really fast-paced and enjoyable. And I would highly recommend if you're looking for a little fun YA romantasy. Next is so fun and so arbitrary, but it is the most beautiful book that I've bought so far this year. Absolutely, hands down, immediately I knew I was going to pick this book. This is A Study in Drowning. I have not read this yet, but this is on my June TBR, so hopefully this month I will get to it. But are you kidding? Are you actually kidding me? Stunning. Last, but certainly not least, here are a couple books that I absolutely need to read by the end of the year. First and foremost, Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I feel like I don't even need to explain this one, but I have read every other Emily Henry book. Newest released, I must also read this one. Next is Finale by Stephanie Garber. This is book number 3 in the Caraval series. I really need to finish the series. That is my goal. I want to finish the series so that way I can start reading Once Upon a Broken Heart, but obviously I need to finish this one first. So if I can finish this by the end of the year, then I will finish one series, which is very exciting. Yeah, I just really want to finish this. Next is Babel by R.F. Kuang. I've had this on my shelf for so long and I really want to read it. I love A Dark Academia and this sounds just so interesting. I've also heard such good things about this book, so this needs to be read this year. Next is The Jasad Heir by Sarah Hashem. I've had this book, I think, for 2 years. Or at least a year. I don't think it's been out for 2 years. I think I've had this book for a year. I want to read it. I'm so curious. I've heard such good things. Olivia Reads a Latte talks about it here on YouTube. She loved it. She read it twice, I think. I want to know. I need to read this by the end of the year. And finally, the last book that I absolutely need to read by the end of the year is Hopeless by Elsie Silver. This is book number 5 in the Chestnut Spring series, if you don't know. And I read all of the others. I just need to finish this last one. I am dragging my feet though because I love this series so much and I love these characters and I love this small town and I don't want it to be over. But I do want to start reading her other series, so I need to finish this one by the end of the year. Also, this is Beau's Story, which low-key I'm like the least interested in, but obviously if Elsie Silver writes it, I'm going to read it and I'm going to eat it up and I'm going to love it. So I must finish it. Okay, y'all, that is it. That is the entire mid-year book tag. I hope you enjoyed this time that we spent together. I know that I did. And I have to go make lunch now because I'm starving. That's dramatic, but I'm very hungry. Before I go, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss out on any future content. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!